I want to give massive thanks to all of my supporting members and patrons. Thank you all so very much.
Your tongue prettier
Oh dear.
than $20
What's happened? Oh man. Sorry about that, guys. I was mucking around with clips earlier on and I didn't realise that one was still set to play. I better switch him off because otherwise that's going to happen every time I change Windows. Sorry about that. Oh well, that's the cock up for tonight. The rest will be perfect, of course. Except I do need to adjust this mic. I seem to have somehow recently... That's a bit better. I need to be able to hear myself a little bit. Otherwise it sounds very empty in my head. It's like being in Nathan Oakley's head. Very empty and echoey. And not a lot going on. Anyway, I hope you're all okay. A few hellos. I see we got... plenty of blues in tonight. Watto, Dora, Martin, Demon, Heat Shield, Nimrod or Nomrid. Not really sure of his name and I don't think he is. And for some reason my scrolling's not working. There we go. Turing Test. Who's not a blue but is a sensible member. Thank you very much, Turing Test 2. And I saw we got Flerf and Heat Shield. Jeff C, another member. Brian Pop Robson and plenty more. Oh, and PJCnet. Good evening to you. Just scrolling back. Globamon was in here. Timo Lynch. I think I'm nearly there. There's a lot of Nimrod. Oh, Loki Fish Mars was in here earlier. I hope Loki Fish is back because Loki Fish might be coming on tonight to talk about something that's been going on between them and Quantum Eraser. Which I'm not aware of at all. So that's going to be interesting to find out what that is. So I hope Loki Fish is still around and wants to come in. So how are you all? Well, what day are we on today? We're on Tuesday, aren't we? Tuesday. My days really get mucked up with shifts. Talking of which, I've got yet another crappy set of shifts this week. I finished at 4 today. The next two I'm working 1 p.m, 10 p.m, and then 2 nights. So that's going to be fun trying to do content. We shall see what we can do. Chris O'Riordan, a new name, Archimus and Matt Wotton. Hello to the three of you. Oh, the Stingray is there, and Mr. A. And I did say someone, I think it was Effie Peer of you said hello to Arnold. Well, Arnold would say a big hello, only the lazy so-and-so is curled up on my bed. He's waiting for me to go up there. He sleeps next to me every night, curled right up tight against me, which is lovely. But he's not here tonight. Never mind. Yeah, sod nights, says Watto. Yeah, actually, the nights I don't mind too much because I'd get up sort of late morning, if I had. But we used to get a complete set of earlies, a complete set of later shifts, a complete set of nights, so you could really get in the swing of it. Now we got 2 earlies, 2 lates, 2 nights, which plays havoc with your sleep pattern, and it plays havoc with your life, basically. So nights themselves, I don't mind, but just having 2 most sets of shifts is a real pain in the proverbial. Catherine Smith says it's 69F in Orlando, Florida. That's nice to know, Catherine. What I can tell you, that here in the U of K, it is not 69F. Not by long chalk. I wish it was. The moderators are a bunch of spanners. You can't say that, Eric. They might boot you out, mate. We wouldn't want that now, would we, my love? No. So, Jack Russell does what? He's Jack Russell. Jeff sees Jack Russell does it. I'm not sure what, but he does it. And I'm sure he does it very, very well. So Loki Fish hopefully is going... I'm going to keep it... Oh, Loki Fish is there in the live waiting room. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we get Loki Fish on pretty much straight away? So there's a little bit of a warning for you, Loki. And Now Pinion. A message from Now Pinion, one of his free member messages. A member for 20 months, no less. That's nearly 21. Wow. I'm also here, been here for 20 months apparently. Yes, you have. Didn't I say hello now? I did see you. My deepest apologies, sir, to you and little Miss Now. My bad. Sorry, pal. Still on Tuesday. Yeah, well, Wednesday. Sydney time. By the way, the show goes well. John, Sydney, eh? Well, it's all kicking off in the land of Oz, isn't it? You so-and-sos are winning the Ashes, or won them. I'm not really sure, because I don't really follow cricket. But I know there's Ashes, and I know that our boys aren't going to bring them home. But never mind. Congratulations to you, Oslings. And of course, there's also a certain Serbian there, isn't there? Mr. What's his name? Novak Djokovic. Something like that. That's all fun and games as well. He's been a naughty boy by the sound of it. Very conveniently caught COVID, although apparently not within the required timescale did he let people in Australia know about it. The next day he was seen and pictured in public, indoors, hugging people. A couple of days later he was in, was it France, where he has to prove that he's COVID negative. And then, of course, he went to Spain as well. And yet his form says that he hadn't done any foreign travel. Something, somewhere, isn't quite right. It's been quite exciting watching what happens. Now, I know that you Aussies are good blokes. You're straight-up blokes, even if you are going to win the Ashes. And I'm sure that you Aussies won't take no nonsense from him. And quite right, too. Good luck with that. Ah, BPA. Ah, Blackadder. Yes, Blackadder reference. Well spotted, my friend. Oh, Pieman TM. Is that as in trademark? Pieman TM. Evening, Mr. S. Nice to catch it live for a change. Well, I'm glad you watch it nonetheless, and I'm glad you're here live. Cough to... What's that, Martin H? Cough to Sir Cough. Oh, Tosser. Cough, Tosser, cough. Incidentally, that reminds me, I had a super chat on the last stream, and I've just gone to the IFTTTT room so I can catch any super chats, and this one still, well, they all still show. It was from Ira Gwynn for £5, which I did read out, but I just realised that I hadn't understood it at the time, which is doubly embarrassing because of what the message is. There were 4 words there: top, og, raf, and e. And it says that's a 4-syllable word, which is about 3.5 more than they can deal with, talking about flat earthers. And I didn't click that was topography. So that's a bit embarrassing. But never mind, not to worry. Let's not be downhearted, siblings. One total disaster is just the beginning. Right, Australian tennis fans sound a bit raucous for tennis fans. I'm sure that when Novak Djokovic plays, it's going to get quite a reception. And I see that Unlocked has become a sensible member. Thank you very much, sir, and welcome on board. Appreciate that. That's nice to see, isn't it? Oh, right, what was that? I just missed. Oh, for some reason, when I scroll up, it doesn't want to scroll up. There was a message there from Flerf Perspective. Fortunately, I spoke to Simon Dan, and he has COVID too. Oh dear. Well, I'm sure we all send our best wishes to Simon Dan, that he doesn't suffer too badly and gets over it quickly and his family stays safe. And Dan, if you need me to take over your channel for a few days, just let me know. For a reasonable charge, of course. Of course, that goes without saying, a reasonable charge. Say no more. No, that's sad news. Stay well, Dan. I hope you get this message. Please stay well. And that goes for each and every one of you. So far, I've managed to dodge this worldwide lurgy, and I hope that shall continue. Definitely. Unlocked. You promised me you would. Did you unlock? I'm sorry, I don't recall that, but thank you very much. You can now use some super cool emojis like what I'm going to post there now. There's lots of them. Well, actually, I could probably do a few more emojis. I haven't checked recently, but the more members I have, the more emojis. I mean, they're very generous at YouTube. You know, I think you start off with about 6 emojis, and every so many members, they'll let you have one more. I mean, it must be very expensive for YouTube to host a little, whatever it is, 60 by 60 pixel emoji that someone else designs and uploads. So, yeah, it's very kind of them. I'll have to check, see if I can make any more. Simon Dan has 4 guests lined up. What is wrong with this? It's not my mouse. My mouse is scrolling okay, but chat isn't. Can someone else try that? When you're in the chat, if you click on the chat window, just try scrolling up and down. For some reason, when I try and scroll up, it sort of judders and doesn't go up. Oh, David Oliver and Unlocked, both trying out the emojis. Oh, Snark saying that PJC Net's very good at irrational prepositions. I'm not sure what PJC Net is up to. I didn't notice. Sven R. Grimson says it's a matter of time. It is always a matter of time, even though time is illusion. Lunchtime doubly so. I'm not sure what you're hinting is a matter of time, but it probably is. Maybe about the Australians kicking out a certain European, Eastern European tennis champion. I don't know. You have to... Well, I'm clicked on the dark scroll thing. Yeah, that's scrolling. I'll click off. Still work. It's working now. I don't think that was it. I've never, ever, ever, never noticed that before. Never. Oh, Loki's noticed it as well. Yeah, so obviously it's YouTube. We've obviously got too many emojis. Definitely. Right, well, sorry. Oh, it's happening again. So now click on the black to try it. Yeah, it's working. I've never had that as a problem before. Thoughts on Amber Heard and Johnny Depp? Heard of both of them, know nothing about them. Flerf, perspective. A slightly Bartfast quote. Well, I always like the crinkly bits. My favourite. Right, let's get Loki Fish Mars in and see what Loki Fish... Actually, let me just make sure I'm set up here right. Make sure my camera's on for Loki. And desktop audio is on. See, I'm dead professional, I am. Excellent stuff. Let's get him in. Dead Sea Scroll like anything. Let's get Loki in and see what Loki's been up to. Hello. Oh, hello, Loki Fish. Are you in there?
I am here. How are you doing today?
Super fine, sir. Super fine. And your volume looks perfect to me. How are you?
Good.
I understand
Had a lot of fun today.
Oh, yes. I heard you've been having some ding-dong with Quantum Eraser, and I'm keen to find out all about it and what's up. So what you been doing, sir?
So, as all of us debunkers have been doing videos on the Sextant and Flat Earth,
you actually got to talk to QE about sextants.
Well, it was in the Discord chat during Nathan Oakley's show. Nathan Oakley's live show.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I recently did a video where I took a $15 Essex Brassworks decorative toy sextant, calibrated it, and was able to get within 1.5 to 12 nautical miles of my position.
Fantastic. Do you know, I did see something about you doing that. I didn't look any further, but I just saw about a toy sextant. Yeah, so what happened? Within 12 nautical miles?
My record so far is 1.5 nautical miles with that little $15 toy.
That's rather incredible, isn't it? Because I would have... Well, if you gave me a sextant and gave me a little bit of time to practice with it, I'd still be doubtful that I could get anywhere near that accuracy with a real one. Wow. Okay, so you did that, and were you telling them about it?
So I did walk folks through how to do it live, then offered that exact sextant to any flat earther willing to step up to prove their sextant works on flat Earth.
I'm sure your email box was flooded, wasn't it? They were biting your hand off, weren't they?
Oh yeah, there's tons of zeros in my inbox.
Oh dear.
Meaning nobody jumped on it at all.
Did you give them the wrong email address? I'm sure that they would have been rushing for the chance.
Oh, you would think. I mean, there was nothing in the comments on the live stream either.
Damn.
So.
Were you blocked or something? I mean, what's wrong with them?
I don't know. I mean, I don't safe space my channel, so I don't block anybody. So
No.
I don't know where all those comments went.
Okay.
So on Discord today, during Nathan's live show in the chat, I asked Quantum Eraser about that, 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height as it relates to the globe. And he admitted that, oh no, that doesn't work on a globe. That in fact disproves the globe. You can't use it.
Oh.
So then I asked him why the almanac correction tables don't match the geometry for flat Earth if you use a sextant.
That's the tricky one, isn't it?
Well, oh yeah. So he goes, well, come on the live show. Come on the live show.
Wow.
To which I responded, I will come on the live show after you plot a course for flat Earth and verify that course with a sextant that I will give you for free.
Wow. So I'm sure he sent you his address, did he, straight away?
Yeah, if address counts as deleting the offer and putting me on a 24-hour timeout.
Oh, what a bitch move. That is pathetic, isn't it? He'd do better just to ignore it and then just say, I didn't see him say that.
Yeah.
Oh dear,
that would have been a smarter move because I screen capped it.
Going to do a video about it?
Oh, already did.
Excellent. Well, if one of the mods could find a link to Loki's channel and post it in here, please, that would be most welcome. Most welcome. So did the arguments go any further? But I guess that was probably the end of it, was it?
Oh no.
Oh.
It went further. It went further. So he posted his link to the video about, him doing a live stream today about, the sextant.
Excellent.
Well, guess who was in chat?
Who was? Oh, you.
So I go over to his live stream, and right as it started, I brought up the deleted offer of the free sextant.
Yeah.
And offered it again.
Yep.
That message got immediately deleted, and I was blocked and hidden from chat.
Oh my goodness, it's pathetic, isn't it? Absolutely pathetic.
Now, what's funny is I had two windows open. I had my regular Chrome window opened, and then I had an incognito window open.
Yep.
So I could see that the message was deleted.
Yep.
So I turned around, put that together, and released yet another video about Quantum Eraser running away from a free sextant.
Brave Sir Quantum. He bravely ran away. When danger reared its ugly head, he bravely turned his tail and fled. Brave Quantum Eraser. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, and I think there's a couple of links to your channel. I'm assuming that's it. I'm going to click on it. Oh, my scroll is playing up, and I'm not the only one apparently. Yeah, it's a link to Loki Fish's channel there in the chat, and I'm not subscribed to it, but I am now. So
why? Thank you.
You're very welcome, sir. Very welcome. So I do encourage people to go over there and have a look. Yes, Quantum Eraser. Yeah, go on. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I even offered to anyone that saw my live stream where I did the conversion that if they didn't feel comfortable with it, hey, if you send me a sextant or, hit me up with a PayPal donation to purchase a sextant and you say what you want, I'll calibrate it and send it out.
Okay.
And I'll do it for just the cost of shipping.
And again, has anyone taken you up on that?
No, I mean, I'm sitting here offering free sextants to flat earthers to prove their claims, and they just keep running away. I mean, Mitchell pulled the same thing when I offered a free sextant to him.
When you're making these comments, you're not making them in some obscure Tahitian language that's extinct, are you, or something?
I double checked. It's in English.
English, okay. Well, I thought that might be the cause of the problem. There's got to be a problem somewhere. Flerf will take a free sextant if there's a lady inside of it. Is that what you're talking about?
That is on my other channel.
But it's in because obviously, like I said, I had no idea what this was about because one of the other things I was going to mention, I just knew it was about QE. Was while I was waiting for the stream because I I got home quite late from work, necked some food, set up the stream, and I just sat here, just jumping around, looking at stuff, and when I was and chatting, and I had one of Oakley's recent streams playing in the background, just listening to them. They're still going on about, oh, you can't get an angle from a curved adjacent. You can use a bubble sextant, you can use an artificial horizon, but that makes a horizontal, and so you can't, which you then correct dip angle, or if you use the horizon, you have to correct with dip angle. So basically, you're making it flat. So therefore, the Earth is flat. What they don't seem to grasp is what's underneath your feet doesn't matter a monkey's to get the angle. You could be on the side of Everest, halfway up Everest, on the side, very steep, and you could still use a sextant. Oh, well, a bubble sextant, I guess, because you're not going to see a horizon, and you're going to find it difficult to use an artificial horizon, but you could still get an angle to a celestial object. The shape of the Earth doesn't matter for getting the angle. The shape of the Earth only matters when you use that angle to calculate your distance from a GP.
Well, the funny thing is when they go into the whole dip angle thing, which is, it shows that they don't know what they're talking about. Because if you use the dip angle calculation and you work it back for a spherical Earth versus a flat Earth, you end up with an error for flat Earth that's like, let's say your globe correction, your globe dip is 7 nautical miles. If you use the same dip correction for flat Earth, your horizon is now at 3.5 nautical miles. So everything you do from there on out is going to be off, and they just don't get it.
But even if, well, let's give them their flat Earth, okay? And they're either using a bubble sextant, an artificial horizon, or whatever correct, valid corrections they need to use on a flat Earth, and they have calculated the angle the star's GP is. The angle of the star above the horizon, your horizontal. Therefore, the complement, the angle off of the zenith. Okay. How does that help you? How is that going to give you a distance from a GP? Oh, well, times it by 60 nautical miles. Okay, well, if you double the angle to a 20 degree off zenith, that's 120 nautical miles. Only it would be wrong. And every degree further you go, the wrongerer it's going to be.
Yeah. I've written correction tables that will actually work on flat Earth. You have to totally toss out everything we know about how refraction works in general.
Well, they're going to be able to do that because they're a total bunch of tossers, so they will be able to do the tossing. Definitely.
So the funny thing is that their whole, angle and nautical miles argument, the further south you go, the longer those nautical miles become, or the more nautical miles they are, and then your conversion from nautical miles to statute miles don't match. They only match at one location from north to south.
But then, of course, what the hell is a nautical mile? We're talking minutes of arc, not minutes of flat. They really, well, I think most of them just really do not get it. I think QE and 10th man, definitely. It looks like he's really trying to find out about it, but he doesn't grasp it. Whereas I think Oakley knows, but he's able to waffle and bluff and bamboozle people into thinking he knows what he's talking about when he quite patently does not. Or at least what he's saying is quite patently rubbish. But I think he actually does know why it's wrong. Because otherwise, how would he steer people away from the correct explanations? I think he's very, very good at that.
They definitely avoid doing course plots and things like that because folks like Nathan know that there's no way they could ever get it to work.
I know, it's quite sweet. And the fact that they think that this globe tool that is the fact that it works and the way it works is a perfect globe proof. How they think that is the number one globe killer. Yeah, another number one globe killer. How they think that's a number one globe killer is beyond me. Totally beyond me.
Yeah, I still can't understand how they grasped on the Sextant and went with that. That just.
Well, I don't know who came up with it first. I've got a feeling that it may well have been 10th Man who first started looking into it and thinking that it would be a good evidence. And like I said, I think he's honest enough to have looked into it, because he comes up with some he's got lots of bits of information. I just think he can't put it together in his head. So I think he got some information, misunderstood it, and thought this would be good. And then all the others who knew even less than him just latched onto it. And then, of course, it was pushed big time by some of them, such as Mitchell from Australia, who's gone very quiet. Very quiet.
Yeah, it's almost like Australia disappeared.
Yeah. Perhaps he's actually on the Australian cricket team and he's busy winning the Ashes. I mean, it could be, couldn't it? Or perhaps he's just a drongo who realises he's beat. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it just, because I don't know what to say about Mitchell. He glosses over and ignores even more than Nathan and QE.
Well, he's blocked me.
If there's
He's
if
blocked
there's
me,
a preschool level, if there's a preschool level of flat Earth, he's there.
Yeah, well, he's got his 20. What is it? 7 days a week, #1 flat preschool channel thing, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, he blocked me. I can't remember why now. He said that I'm a liar and he doesn't speak to liars, and called me a canut. Something like that. I'm not sure of the spelling. Something like a canut. Yes.
He blocked me for offering him a sextant, so.
Well, I mean, that's a heartless thing to do. A heartless thing to do. And incidentally, when I subscribed to you just a few minutes ago, I think you're on 184 subscribers. You're now on 198, and it's still going up. Let's get him over the 200, guys. Let's get him over 200. That'd be nice. So if we could drop a link again to Loki Fish's channel, that would be a good shout, I think. So can I ask you, Loki? Please don't say anything that you don't want to say. Don't feel comfortable saying. Can I ask what sort of background you're from and why you started a channel and so on?
As far as background, I actually left school prior to graduating because all my elective courses were math, and the school board said that I couldn't do that because that would give me more math credits than English credits, and that was against the curriculum.
Oh, okay.
And
So
I left with like a 3.5 GPA, and most of that was all straight A's in math courses, in mathematics.
and they didn't want you to be too good at math. I mean, why would they? Well, I guess that's their rules, but that doesn't seem to make sense, really, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. And apparently that policy has changed. But from then on, a bunch of various different jobs, auto mechanics, carpentry.
Sorry,
various different...
sorry for chuckling. Someone said, 200 subs. I've had a look. It's 210, mate. So
Nice.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do content for them now, though. That's the problem.
I guess I'll have to start stealing more of the shill's live streams then.
Well, you could do that.
So just a lot of work as, I guess you would say I'm a perfect example of a jack of all trades, a generalist.
Yeah.
I've done astronomy, engineering, programming, all that stuff, and have been able to take, little bits that I learned from programming and apply that to engineering, and then little bits of engineering or astronomy and apply that to, me cooking dinner and just all kinds of things like that.
Astronomy and dinner.
So, hey, you never know how many angles, how many arc seconds you need of spoon.
Well, that's
to
true.
Stir that pot.
That's
correctly.
true. I must ask Anthony Riley how many angles in an egg. No, I tell you what, I totally respect it. I totally do. For me, I had, how do we put it, issues when I was at school, and I left relatively early. And well, at the time I was beating myself up because I felt like I had failed. I felt that I should have done a lot better, and not to put too fine a point on it, I thought I'm not this dumb. Okay, so for me, what gave me a kick up the arse is I decided to have a crack at Mensa, and I got in age 16. So that gave me a big boost, and from then I ignored the impression I had of myself, and I got into computing, and then I had a career in computing for over 20 years before I decided to move on to something else. So I totally respect where you're coming from. I mean, I think obviously education and qualifications are wonderful things. I really do, and I wish I had more. But just because somebody may not have those, I would not knock them. It's a lot of it's it's your attitude, it's your ability, willingness to learn, and so on. So good for you, mate.
Yeah, and probably like yourself, I was one of those hey, let's take this apart and see how this works.
Yes.
Kind of kids.
Yeah.
Oh man, radios, yeah, little tiny gearboxes, all kinds of stuff. And yeah, so let me ask you, are
dear.
you familiar with what was then called the Gifted Children's Program? That was for childhood Mensa candidates.
No, I'm not. So I mean, if that was a Mensa thing, I don't know. Because to me, the prime thing was to get what, as far as I knew, was the official sort of IQ figure, which is why I did it. After that, I didn't really have anything to do with Mensa. I think technically, once you passed, and I could, in effect, waltz back in again, assuming they still got records of me. But I never got involved in it at all. I just did that for my own satisfaction, to know that I could,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's understandable.
So I never did anything with it. When people have, if anyone's ever asked, if it's come up in conversation, sort of pretty much as it has now, then I'll mention it. But other than that, it doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah. So no, I've not heard of that program at all.
Yeah, I think they changed the name of the program, but it used to be what was called the Gifted Children's Program. And that was basically, your teachers and stuff would go, "This kid is stupid smart,"
Yeah.
and they would forward that over to the Mensa, and Mensa would get you into the Gifted Children's Program. So you would receive, these little magazines and books that had more advanced mathematics and more advanced sciences and stuff like that than they were teaching in school.
Okay. I mean, it sounds a good idea because, I've always felt that with my kids, you have to be very careful. It's a balance. Pushing them enough so that they'll do stuff without pushing them so that they're overwhelmed. Giving them every opportunity, they can. So yeah, if they were finding schoolwork too easy, in one aspect or another, whether that's maths or English or whatever, give them the opportunity to go and grow beyond what's being given to them, if possible.
Yeah, I'm doing that with my daughter now. My daughter writes novellas,
Oh, good for her.
and just just right off the top of her head comes up with all these stories and all this other stuff, and makes her own comic books. So yeah, most of her gifts are paper, pencils, and art materials.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone has different abilities and different experiences and backgrounds. I just think children are wonderful. I mean, I look at someone like Now Pinion, who I was going to say who was here earlier. I see is still here. Someone it was questioned whether he should do some of his videos with his daughter in, but I think it's absolutely wonderful. They're doing little science experiments suitable for her age, and she's learning things, and I can't praise that highly enough. But there we go.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of his videos, and that's great. That's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
When I was doing astronomy live streams, on the weekends, if my daughter was up, I'd have her in on my astronomy live streams, and she'd go over some of the things of, well, now we're looking at a galaxy and we're looking at a planet and things like that, and it was just fun and learning.
Yeah, I
Fun
think
and
that's
learning.
fantastic. Now, can you imagine what it's like for Nathan Oakley's kids? No, I don't know what he's like, because maybe once he's away from his YouTube channel, maybe he's an ordinary bloke and maybe he encourages his kids. So I can't really criticise, but say someone like Anthony Riley, who appears to, well, not only is he pushing this rubbish, he doesn't appear to understand things, and I think he pretty much believes it. I have no idea if he has children, but I can only imagine how they're being brought up if he does, and it's not good. And someone said that Anthony Riley is actually a member of Denser. It's like negative Mensa. Oh dear. Oh, all right. Yeah. Sorry. Go on. Carry on.
It's the organization where your brain matter has to be made of newtonium.
Oh, yes. Yes. And the denser you are, the further to the bottom you sink, of course, due to relative density. So Riley must be somewhere near the bottom. Somewhere near the bottom. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, the whole gravity denying crap and just coming up with relative density disequilibrium. I saw a good point someone made recently. No, it wasn't Bob. It may have been comments on one of Bob the Science Guy's recent videos. Someone said that density isn't a force, just like colour. Absolutely. If you have two blocks, one's red, one's green, which one's going to go down? No, colour doesn't come into it. And it's not due to density. Density doesn't give direction, but they're still pushing that crap.
I don't know. I'd argue over color, because have you ever had a crayon thrown at you?
No. Well, which colour hurts the most?
Orange.
What about purple? I like purple. Does that hurt? Actually,
No,
I'll tell you,
I
it does
normally
like
catch
purple.
because that's grape.
Yes. So
Which,
most of
come
them
to
have been
find out-
eaten by flat earthers.
Well, I found out just today that they do make edible crayons.
That sounds nuts. You're just going to encourage kids to eat it.
I know. Well, that and flat earthers.
They'll just grab some other kids' crayons and start chewing on them. Yeah. Well, perhaps it's for flat earthers in training. I don't know. Break them in. Start with grape flavour and so on, and then just go on to wax crayons. And you're on a nice round
Could be.
220 subscribers. Thank you, people.
Thanks, everybody. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Cool.
I don't know. Maybe you should ask McFlatty whether what the
Yes,
graduation scale is for edible crayons.
I know, because on his Christmas message, McFlatty was chomping on crayons, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cracking video. And we should see a bit more of McFlatty, I think. Oh, Turtle Move says QE shouts bad definitions at people. Yeah, that's about all he's got, isn't it? I can't imagine QE in a debate, because all he's got is these cherry-picked quotes. Yeah. Does a word search for, I don't know, gravity is not a force, and then finds some paper and just quotes that sentence from it without reading the rest of it.
Yeah, that's some of the things that I've watched when he does that is immediately use the transcripts, use like closed captioning, and then immediately Google search what he's quoting to pull up the source, and then turn around and immediately look at the source before he's finished going on about it and going,
well,
that's not what it says.
No,
Bob's not even...
Sorry. Yeah, go on, carry on.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Bob did a breakdown on some of his and pulled up half a dozen of the quotes he'd said, and they were contradicted within 3 paragraphs, sometimes within the same paragraph that he was quoting from, which was sweet. I mean, it's just rubbish, isn't it? Just rubbish.
Yeah, definitely is. It's...
Mr. Jones 72 says, edible crayons, what next? Flavoured windows for licking. Probably.
I'll have to check on that because for stage sets, the bottles that they break over people's heads are sugar glass. So there is lickable windows, technically.
I'm going to have a quick Amazon search just to see. Oh my goodness. Oh. I googled edible crayon. Yeah. Oh, edible. Pure beeswax crayon, safe for kids. So I guess they're edible. That doesn't mean they're made with flavours, I suppose. But
No,
that's
I came
interesting.
across some on a general search that actually came with flavors.
Oh, I suppose I could search for flavoured crayons. Let's have a quick try. I have never heard of anything so daft, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like that was banned in the UK. Oh, there's one with silly with scents, but they're washable markers. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in the UK, because child safety. Yeah, I can't see any there that are flavoured, but it seems like a nutsoid up idea to me, though. There we go. Now I'm just enabling them, says Microraptor. Oh dear. Well, listen, it's great having you on here, and it was good to hear what happened with QE. I think that's such a low down move. It's not as though you had an argument and you beat him and then he didn't let you come back. To actually just hide your offer like that. I'm glad you got it screen captured, though. You should post about that, definitely.
Yeah, on generally any of the Flat Earth channels that, if they do a live show or, in their comments, I'll make offers or point out very simple grade school arithmetic that disproves their argument, and then I will view that in an incognito window and a regular window.
Yes.
And the very instant it disappears, I screen cap.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, because what had happened with me was I'd noticed.
As far as science goes, in all, just a proper civil discussion, safe spacing is one thing that sets me off every time. Safe space comments, safe space chats, safe space your Discord server. It's like, no, that's not how you have a discussion.
No. And I think as soon as someone does that, they've shown that they've lost. They've lost. Incidentally, if anyone's wondering why, this stream, it's the first of my streams that's subscriber-only comments, is not to do with any form of censorship. It's purely as a method of beating the bots. My stream, or my past couple of streams, had a few bots, but I think some people have had an awful lot of bots posting. But it's an easy way to stop it. So that is why it's done. And someone only needs to become a subscriber for 5 minutes and then they can post. But that beats the bots. Yes, Dora says this stream is now a safe space against bots. Yeah, bots only. But I mean, we've got PJCnet in here. We have Gary Wybenga. They are in here and are able to post, and that's quite right. They will say things, well, perhaps more Gary right now, but they'll say things that are incorrect or wildly apocryphal. But that's fine. That's fine. As long as there's no hate speech, gratuitous swearing, etc., then I welcome people to post their views, whatever they are, because I know a whole lot of other people will then respond. But that's right. It's not a safe space. It's not a safe space. It's like all these universities deplatforming people because of views they don't like. It's better to have them up there, ridicule them, and show why they're wrong.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Plus, there's something that they may say that's wrong that triggers something in your thought process that gives you a different approach to how to see your side of the argument.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, hell, most of us learned more about the globe dealing with flat earthers than we ever learned in school.
I'll put my hand up for that, definitely. I've learnt tons. And as I said before, with regard to sextants, all I knew was, because, hey, I didn't need to know anymore, was it's a tool used by mariners to establish their position. Oh, and it uses celestial objects. that was about it. And to be honest, if I'd have thought about it, I'd have said, well, I don't really know how it works. I do now. That doesn't mean if you gave me a sextant, I'll be able to instantly calculate my position, because it's a real skill and requires practice, and I'm sure an awful lot of practice. I'm honest enough to say that, unlike these flat earthers who have never held one and just spout off all sorts of rubbish against the known methods, the known mechanisms of calculating positions, like Flatzoid FE and Mitchell from Australia, who thought you triangulate your position. Wow, we did you on that one. They also thought you had to see the horizon. Wow, bitch made you on that one as well. But QE and Oakley in this stream were saying how they mentioned the bubble sextants, they mentioned artificial horizons, and a tin of a liquid or a treacle or something to be used as an artificial horizon, and said all you globies fell into the sextant trap. Well, they never mentioned either of those until I did. They were busted.
Yeah, and it's not surprising. It's
Yeah.
not surprising. And I see they're now talking about celestial horizons after it's after I did the video going, no, there's two horizons. There's your apparent horizon or sea horizon, and then the celestial horizon, which is otherwise referred to as the true horizon. And
Yeah.
then, I've noticed lately that they're going on about that too.
Yes.
Now, what's funny is, a lot of them, that I've interacted with in various chats and things like that will go, well, what do you know about celestial navigation?
Yeah, well, what do you know about it, Loki Fish? What do you know?
I'll put it to you this way. The only form of celestial navigation that I am not familiar with and have not actually used is a cross staff or backstaff.
No, I've
done
heard.
the Polynesian method.
I was going to say, I have heard of both of those and know nothing at all of them. I'm honest. I'm not going to
They're
claim,
really-
well, that proves the globe because I have no idea how they work.
They're really big, cumbersome objects, and I really don't feel like making one. But the Polynesian method using hand spans and finger widths.
Oh, yes.
I can get within 100 or so nautical miles of my true position with that. There's a thing called a kamal, which uses knots in a string and a wooden block, and you measure height of celestial objects with that.
Yeah.
Not too bad with that.
So
Then-
once you've established that height, or I presume the angle of elevation of the celestial object, you're then using the same method as degrees off of zenith, are you?
Keep thinking at it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can sit there with, if you have a timepiece synchronized with UTC
Yes.
and just a ripped out page of the ephemeris for any object from the almanac, Venus, Jupiter, the sun, whatever. That's all you need. That in your hands. The only thing where it's critical to get east to west is that time sync with
Yes.
UTC, so
Yeah.
that you have an initial point of reference. Now you can cheat and go, if you have a timepiece, have your timepiece synced with local time, but that's still the same thing. It gives you an initial point of reference to work from east to west.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's interesting stuff, and I'm actually grateful the flat earthers brought it up. As soon as they did, I thought, they're wrong. I don't know why they're wrong, but I know they're wrong, so I'm going to find out about it. And yeah, I learnt tons. And then, of course, you learn so much, but then having gained whatever level of understanding, if you try and do a video about it to explain why they're wrong to other people, that forces you to ensure that you really do understand it, and that perhaps there's some other bits you need to learn as well in order to be able to show why these flat earthers are wrong. And I have learnt so much. I actually was trying to buy a sextant. This was about 2 months ago. It was on eBay. It was a beautiful looking thing. It was a Russian made sextant, and it still came in a wooden box. It had all the bits and pieces. Just some of the mirrors had a few blemishes with age on them. Aside from that, it was just lovely. Unfortunately, I got beaten to it. someone bid much, much more than I was willing to pay. But there we go. That would have been fun.
Yeah, the Russian sextants, there's a couple different versions, but the Russian sextants are built like tanks.
Yeah, it did look rather
I've looked at them,
substantial.
and it's,
Yeah. But it was a beautiful piece of kit, and I thought, well, if I get that, obviously I can show it. I can use it to explain about sextants. I can have a go at using it. Obviously, round here, well, not obviously, but round here, I'd have to use an artificial horizon. That's fine. That would show that I'm not using any dip correction or anything like that. And then I'd either put it on the shelf behind me when I show my shelf, or I'd have stuck it back up on eBay and sold it on and recouped most of the money. But there we go. Unfortunately, I didn't win it because there were lots and lots of sextants that are churned out from Chinese factories, and I didn't really think it was worth buying one of those. But then, yeah, this was a proper one. There we go.
well, I mean, like I said, some of the toy sextants are easier to convert and calibrate than others, but some of the nicer sextants that are decorative, like the Tamiya clone that's on like Amazon and such,
Yeah.
and a couple of, they're around like $100 or so. Yeah, those can be calibrated and they can actually be made to be pretty accurate. That's why I actually have one on my Amazon wish list, because I actually wanted to get something a little bit bigger, because the one that I did the video on is one of those tiny little 3.5-inch ones.
Yes. Yeah, I saw a lot of
So
those.
yeah, and as accurate as it is, it's still very uncomfortable to hold,
Yeah.
because I'm like 6'3", so it's just like.
But
there's
then
a
when you
sextant in
use
my
it, if
hand.
you took,
I'm
if you
sorry,
got
I
some,
missed it.
if you got someone to photograph you using it, you'd look like a giant, wouldn't you, with this tiny little sextant in your hand?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, look, I tell you what, we have a whole bunch of people above us in the live waiting room. Would you like to? This is a great technique I've developed lately. I get a guest to choose the next guest, so that I can't be accused of any favouritism or ignoring anyone. Is there someone, or would you like to pick one of the names and we'll try and drag them into chat and see where we get to? Anyone you want.
I'll just pick a random name.
Okay.
Let's bring Peter in.
Peter. Okay, Peter. Let's bring Peter in. I hope you're ready, Peter. You're going live on Mr. Sensible. Hello, Peter. You're muted right now. Hello. Can you hear us? Peter. Oh no, it looks like we got a dead one there. Come on, we'll try Peter.
Okay.
We'll try him again in a while. Anyone else you'd like to try?
I don't know. Let's see what Gary has to say.
Okay. Mr. Wybenga. Hello, Gary. Gary, are you here? Hello, Gary. If you're in here, you're muted right now. Not by me. You're doing well, Loki. Okay. Right, we'll chuck Gary back again. Third time lucky then. Third time lucky, Loki.
Let's bring Flo Rita in.
Okay, I will indeed. Of course, all the rest won't speak to you for ignoring them, but that's your fault. That's down to you. Hello, Flo.
Hello.
Hey, we got a winner. How are you?
Hi, how are you guys?
Fine, thank you. I'm just going to turn your volume down. For some reason, you're set really high. Let's just say
Great.
something else, see how you are now.
Something else?
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad.
Okay,
So
great.
how are
Awesome.
you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not so bad. And for those who don't know, Flo Rider is the person who did a 1-minute debunk and came up with the evidence of the curvature in the surface in tow tanks, as witnessed by the curved rails. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's been quite a while, actually.
it has indeed. I was defending it recently, or using it recently, and I've forgotten who it was now, and they were saying, "Oh, how do they measure the top of the tank to get the top of the tank curved?" And I had to try and explain. Oh, it was Dell. Dell beyond the. He said, "Have you got any plans that show the top of the tank was curved?" Well, no, plans wouldn't show it because the top of the tank can be any shape you want as long as the water doesn't dribble out. What you just need on top is mounts which are adjustable for the rails. You then make them curved. But he didn't get it.
No, because he wasn't listening.
No, that's true. That's true.
But funny enough, I was talking to Walter Bislin in the
Oh yes.
in the YouTube comment section, and he was asking a rather interesting question about the towing tank. I think you mentioned that one also, the Southampton one.
Yes. Was it 138 meters at the? It's
I think
Boulderwood tow tank.
exactly. Yeah, I think so. It was 130 or 168 meters, and Walter actually did the math, and he came out with a different height for the rails.
Oh, okay.
And so we had
How much
this-
different was it? Because they publish or publicise 0.6 millimeters, don't they?
They did, yeah. And he came out at a wait. I hope I get this right. I think he came out with a smaller number.
Okay.
And so I actually contacted the manager of the Boulderwood tank.
Yeah.
And he emailed me back like 2 days ago, and he said the reason why he came out with a different height was because he was
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
measuring-
Does it?
Yeah.
Is it the orientation of the tank? You know, north, south, east, west, or anything?
also, but mainly it's because of the latitude, because the radius is different
Yeah.
in Southampton as opposed to the equator or someplace
Yes.
else. So he actually measured he actually had a different radius to calculate the sagittar.
Right, I
height for
see.
the towing
Yes,
tank,
so that's why it came out with
which I
different value.
thought-
Because I know that the direction of the tanks come into it as well. And I've just had a super chat from Earth is Life for $5. Thank you, Earth. If Gary comes in, ask him how high above the North Pole is Polaris. Wow.
Oh, I know that one.
Go on in. How high above the North Pole is Polaris then, Flo?
4,000 miles.
How did you work that out then?
Give
No,
or take a couple miles.
Yeah.
I had a really strange discussion like 30 minutes ago with Gary at Dr. Bob's channel. It was
Okay.
bizarre.
What were you talking about with Gary?
Well, he was talking about Polaris and how high up it is. And then I got him to talk about celestial rotation and telescope mounts.
What, did you go into an EQ mount?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was laughing at Dora and Koo's comment. Yeah, 4,000 square miles.
Was it Brian's Logic came up with Sky Miles?
Score.
Sky Miles?
Yeah, so we would talk about EQ mounts, and he at the end he was claiming that Wolfie 6020 was faking or was lying about how EQ mounts work because he was correcting for the orientation of the sun close to the horizon, because that's where all the distortion happens, and that's where the globe fails, obviously.
Damn.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah, that pesky atmosphere.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what we're going to do about that.
Well, not much, because we won't be able to breathe without it, but I guess we're stuck
well,
with it.
if we could only see the dome or get to the dome, then everything would be peachy. But since we can't, we're
Yes.
doomed.
Yeah, I don't know how they can posit a dome without anybody having seen it, without us having any samples of it, any measurements to or from it, but just basically claiming it's there. That doesn't seem very scientific to me at all.
Well, then flat Earth isn't science. So you proved that. Great.
The funny thing about the whole EQ mount argument is flat earthers actually don't really look into what an EQ mount technically is. A broom handle leaning against a fence rail pointed at the North Celestial Pole or South Celestial Pole is technically an EQ mount.
Yeah.
All you got to do is strap a camera to it.
That's right. It's just providing the point of rotation. You match it up to the point of rotation of the Earth, and you can counter it. Simple.
Yeah.
I don't know why they can't get it.
Because they don't. Yeah.
Or Lone Tech
Just
says
like
that they
with-
posit a dome because that's what resembles the celestial sphere model. The dome is Tupperware, says Sophocles K. It could be. It could be. Yes. And then where do all the comets come from? Where do all meteorites come from? Well, and meteors when they're flashing across the sky. Well, I mean, it's just such crap, isn't it? It really is. That's the reason I do it. Well, one of the reasons is it's so much fun because it's so stupid. And the other reason is if I can do stuff and one person hears something that makes them think twice or even turn away from flat earth and all this crap, then it's a win as far as I'm concerned.
And like you said
I
before,
think the dome.
yeah.
I think the dome's a pasta strainer and light's just shining in from the outside.
Well, I'm sure you've seen before as well, and I saw one recently, a guy explaining the light pattern of day and night across the flat earth using a solid glass paperweight, as dome-shaped paperweight, basically bending and twisting the light left, right and centre. But that's not a glass dome, that's a solid hemisphere or a bit less of glass. I mean, that's not where we live. Not at all.
Well, I mean, if we're breathing glass, then what's in my windows?
I don't know. Are you sure you've got windows? Perhaps they're just a figment of your deranged imagination. Have you considered
That's
that?
quite possible.
Yes, the firmament. That's where it's come from, isn't it? The firmament. Just meaning the sky, the expanse above. But they've taken that to mean an object.
Because it has firm in it, and it all makes sense.
Could be, couldn't it? Could be.
Just like CC from New York says that planets are plane because plane is in planet. It's really fun.
Well, someone said that Kyle Adams is the one who did that glass thing. At least I think that's what you're talking about, Flat Earth Math. And I think I saw you recently, didn't I, on someone's channel, Flat Earth Math, having a debate with someone. Was that on Fight the Flat Earth or something? I can't remember. But Kyle is certainly not the only one who's done that. I've seen more than one Flat Earther do that. And I've just had another super chat for €5 from Timo Lynch. Come on! If it's in the Bible, it's true. If Noakley says it, it's truer. And if it's contrary to every piece of evidence, it's truest. Hashtag science. Nice one, Timo. Yeah, we better hide that because Nathan will see that and he'll take you up on that. I mean, you super chatted it. It must be true. And we've had another one from John Watson for £2. Happy New Year, Mr. S. Here's to a sensible 22. Cheers. Yeah, cheers to you, John. Thank you very much for super chat. And Happy New Year to anyone who I've missed or haven't seen between New Year and now. Apart from Mr. Oakley, I don't really wish him a Happy New Year. Not at all. What I want to do, my ideal 22 would be to see Mr. Nathan Oakley come out of his mute button supported echo chamber and debate someone in a neutral channel. It could be me, could be someone else. I don't care. I'd just love to see it. I really would. Definitely. Flat Earth Math was trying to have a conversation with Oakley. That's where I saw it then. Yes.
Yeah.
I just knew I'd seen the name recently. Well, good for you for tackling Oakley. I certainly wouldn't. I mean, yes, I've tackled him in the chat as well, and his Oakleyites, but I won't go on his channel. No, not on his channel.
That was a great feat by Flat Earth Math, by the way. I watched that and I super chatted him €5 just for putting up with Oakley's crap for an hour.
Hey, I've put up with loads of his crap. But that's okay.
Yeah, but
I got my money's worth by reporting him to the police. There we go. That's another story. Yeah. Glass dome. Window lickers heaven. Well, that could be it. 2747, 27. They're dreaming of a dome. The ultimate window to lick. It could be. It could be indeed. They should ask Phuket where Gigantor. He might be able to reach up high and touch the dome. Yeah, could be. No, Oakley wouldn't debate an iguana off his own platform. We'll know that, Ranty. But it's nice to keep pointing out how yellow he is. I'll go on to another channel to debate, a neutral channel. It could even be a flat earther behaving neutrally. I just won't go on to Oakley's channel. Yeah. Yes, Oakley would debate someone for $5,000. Actually, do you know what? It would be interesting. Let's say Cats, for instance, came up and said, there you go, Oakley, there's your $5,000. Let's have this debate. It would almost be worth chipping in, even if Oakley benefited by it, because he would be so bitch-made. It's unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Oh, he'd find a way out.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we try and get Gary back in? He's still. We've got quite a few people in there. I'm going to try. Yeah, go on, carry on.
I'd hate to interrupt, but I need to head off so that I can go cook dinner for the family.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me on.
Remember to apply astronomical principles in your cookery.
Will do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. Thank you, Loki, for coming in. I know it was short notice, very short notice. It was about 20 minutes before the stream. It was great talking to you, to meet you, and good luck with the channel. Anyone got a latest count on Loki's channel? Because I've lost the link right now off the top of my head. I did see it had gone over. I think it had gone over 220. But it'd be nice to see what the current is, unless you can check quickly. Loki, you can probably get to it. No, I can't scroll back to find it. It won't show for me.
I'm showing 226.
Nice one.
Thank you very much, everybody.
There you
Thank
go.
you very much.
Go. Good stuff. All right, you take care. We look forward to seeing what you put out there. Keep up the good fight.
And chat with you again.
Thank you, Loki. Take care. I'll move you out the room then. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
What a nice guy. Another nice guy. So let's get a couple of people in. I have seen Mr. 42 and Gary Wybeninga. Hello, Gary. Hello, Mr. 42.
Oh,
we did try and bring you in earlier, Gary. You're right, pal.
yeah, I was driving and I had to roll my windows up because it's kind of warm today, and then I had to check the traffic first, so to make sure I wasn't going to run into anybody. So
That's probably a good idea. That is quite sensible.
I did answer, but it was just like I was a couple seconds too late.
So how are you, Gary?
I'm good.
Good. And Mr.
Off to visit my grandkids.
Oh, nice one. Well, I hope you have a nice time. I do. I genuinely do. And Mr. 42, hello.
Good evening.
Not heard from you for a little while, my friend.
Yeah, I've been quite busy.
And
With
whereas you've been
nothing
busy,
bad.
I've been trying to avoid you. So there we go. It's a win-win all round, isn't it?
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. So,
but you might have been watching my video because I heard you say something about a glass dome thingy that was also on my channel. So maybe you saw that one.
No, I'm afraid. I'll be honest and say I'm afraid I didn't. So obviously, great minds think alike, Mr. 42.
Yeah.
And fools never differ. Yeah. No, I haven't seen that. So what? Actually, let's ask you, Gary. Because I'm not going to try and put anything on you. Would you be of the belief that there is a dome or lid or cap of some? You would.
Yes.
Can I ask what you would base that on?
Actually, the Bible, because I can't see it.
On the Bible.
And plus we're in, and obviously it's enclosed. We have gas pressures. We have variations of that at the different levels, all because it's enclosed.
But I mean, for instance, with Mage, and I don't want to harp on about Mage, when it went up to its 100 and however many thousand feet, the atmospheric pressure was at, I think, 0.3% what it is down here. So why do you think we need something to hold that in when we don't need to hold the full atmospheric pressure at ground level, hold it in and away from the pressure is up high? Why is there a gradient? I'm sorry.
That way because it has a gradient because it is held in. That's just the way it is. That's just like you get a can of spray paint, right?
Yeah.
You got to shake it up before you spray because it changes levels. You got a gradient inside
Well,
the can.
I think that's more
That's the
I think
container.
that's more
That's
making sure
pressurized.
the colors mixed and stuff like
Well,
that. But
and because you have a gradient of stuff, it doesn't stay mixed inside. The heavier, denser things go to the bottom.
well,
Right?
yeah,
You just
well,
have
yes,
it on your shelf.
the pigments, yes, definitely.
So you
But
have a gradient in a can, just like we have gradients because we have different kinds of gases in our atmosphere, various levels of density and buoyancy. Um,
well,
the same thing.
the gradient within the can, leaving aside pigments and any solids like that, there would be a gradient, but the gradient would be absolutely minimal. But
Well,
I'd have to ask you what is causing a grade, because if I had two areas, well, you think when you get a weather storm coming in and the air pressure's dropped by 10 millibars, or it's risen by 10 millibars, you'll get some strong winds as the air is rushing from one place to try and equalize. But why then does full atmospheric pressure of of about 100,000 pascals, why doesn't that rush up to the top of Everest where it's only about 30% of that?
I have no idea. It's all got to do with all the things put together. You can't just point out one specific area.
Well, I'm
You're
pointing
going
out
to
the
have
fact.
hot. You're going to have cold that dictates all that kind of stuff. You're going to have winds that are around that dictate all that stuff. Things move around. That's how everything's kept mixed to a certain degree.
Well, this is interesting. 42 and flow. Do you have any comments on that?
Go flow.
Go flow.
Oh,
Yeah, just that gravity can be the container. That's what we've been saying all
or we
along.
could be in a container and there's just pressure from the various levels of density and buoyancy.
Yeah, but then we should be
It's
able
like a
to
spray
measure
paint,
that
like a spray
container.
paint can.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind coming back to this in a minute, but I have had a super chat from Earth is Life for $5 saying, Gary, if Polaris is 4,000 miles above the North Pole and I'm 4,000 miles away from the North Pole, what angle should Polaris be above the horizon?
I don't know. 45 degrees, right?
That's what it would have to be, yes.
Yes, but you also have this angular compression in the center. Let's start it off this way.
Okay,
You have a field of view, right? Right?
right.
So I wanted, okay. Your field of view, based on your elevation, has a limited amount of depth, right? Where you can see.
I'm sorry, Gary.
The bottom of it.
Could you repeat that? You have a limited amount of what?
You have a limited field of depth
Oh, field of
based
depth.
on your
Yeah.
based on your elevation. Obviously, if you're higher, it has a deeper depth, but it still has a limit at the center frame, right? We have a thing we call the vanishing point or the vanishing zone, right? It's an artistic thing they use in art, but it's a realistic thing because we actually see that way, right? We
But
see the
that's just
ground slanting
angular
upward,
resolution.
We see
That's
the sky slanting downward. We see things to the sides of us that are moving away appear to slant inward towards that center frame, right?
Go on. The floor is yours to explain yourself.
Okay, so you have a limit at that point. Now, obviously, if you're okay, I have a rubber band video too. I know a lot of you have seen at least parts of it. Your angles as you move away from things like a building, and we're going to just say the building is Polaris, right? You're standing right under Polaris. You're looking up at 90 degrees. If
Okay.
you're standing at the bottom of the building, you're looking up at like 89.9.
Yeah.
You can't see the top, right? As you move away, those angles change. The bottom, because you're close to the bottom, will quickly change in how you see it, in the way it compresses or decreases or diminishes in angular size. While the top, because when you start to move away from a building, you actually begin to see more of the top of the building because it's not foreshortened anymore, right? When you're right next to it, everything foreshortens to the top because the angle to the top is too narrow. The same way with Polaris. It's like you move away from it, that bottom part at center frame, which is going to be the ground rising up towards your eye levels, and the sky slanting down towards your eye levels, is going to compress at that vanishing zone, right? So you can't, even in your model, you can't just take a measurement out of the blue of something far, far away that's really, really tall and be able to measure that and say it's this tall. You need to know lots of different things, right? You have to add your R or whatever, right?
Well,
You can't just take that measurement and say it's this.
right. Well, R would only come into it if you're witnessing something starting to disappear behind the curve. I mean, if
Yes,
you're
which
talking
is
about
what you're going to see the bottom part of that distance as things move away from you. There's a space between. Let's say there's an airplane flying away. That
Yeah.
airplane's flying away. There's
Yeah.
a space between the airplane and the ground, right?
yes,
As the plane flies farther and farther away, that space becomes more and more compressed. Even though the plane is just as high as it was, it's compressing. It's going towards center frame because,
well,
like, you take your arm and point at it as it moves away. Your arm is going down towards your eye level.
yes, okay.
Like
So the
gravity.
plane is at 1,000 feet above you. It's flying directly away. Yes, it appears
It's
to
going to
get
compress.
well.
gonna
It's not.
compress
It's not
that
compressed.
space.
I mean, the angle
Well, it
to
is
it is
compressing.
changing, or the angle between
Which
the,
is-
the plane and the horizon will look to get
Which is
smaller and
compressing
smaller.
that space that you see it in, right? It's compressing that space in your field of view where you see it at now, right?
Okay.
That's compression. That's compression, right? You can call it an angular size change. Or
Well,
whatever
it
you
is
want.
angular size, yes.
It's compressing that space. It's when it's right over ahead of you, it looks like a big space. When it gets further away, that space becomes very small, right?
Yeah. All you're talking about is perspective.
Yes, yes. Now, as things keep going, because you're limited by the ground because you're close to the ground. So you're going to have that foreshortening happen on the ground, which gives you what you see and call a horizon, right? You get foreshortening, you're going to have like you're out at the ocean. You look out, it appears to be approximately eye level, right? Approximately.
Approximately.
It's not because it's parallel lines, but it's going to appear as if there's no space between that object and the ground or the water surface at that point. Now, as things move past that point, it's just going to keep on, because of the angle, it's going to keep on slicing more off that bottom that you can't resolve because you have limited pixel space in that area.
Hold on,
Your field of view.
well, a couple of things. My eyes don't have pixels, but there is a limit.
I know they don't. It's
No,
just a,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
I
a
know,
word I use
but
for fun.
there is a limit to a minimum size limit to what you can see. It's the angular resolution limit of your eye. But yeah, the aircraft appears to be getting smaller. It's flying away from you. It's staying at the same height. We've agreed it's flying at 1,000 feet or whatever. But it appears visually as though it's getting closer and closer and closer to that water surface as it approaches the horizon.
Yeah, the one that's at approximately eye level, right?
The horizon, yeah. Well, you're stood on a boat or stood on a beach. The horizon looks eye level because eye level is, well, your line of sight is what you. I mean, you look at the horizon. If it's half a degree down, you're not going to notice that. So, to all intents and purposes,
Yes, exactly.
yeah, to all intents and purposes, it looks level. But I'm not really sure where you're going with this, Gary. Oh, they'd asked you about Polaris, hadn't they? They'd asked you about
Because
Polaris.
it does tie into how you see Polaris and how the angles are. Let me give you another little quick one.
Yeah, but actually, before you do, if you stick to Polaris, because yes,
well, no, this is still sticking, but it requires an explanation. Otherwise, you guys won't understand it.
Okay, well, let's go with
Requires
this
an
explanation, then I'll address it.
Okay, I started to say that as something moves past that foreshortened part that you call the horizon or eye level or just below eye level, but virtually indistinguishable, anything that moves past that point, the bottom face of that is always going to be the first thing that's being sliced off because that it can't change that angle anymore. That angle is limited by the ground at your eye level. So anything that moves past that is going to be, it's like being shaved off section by section by section.
And I'd have to
The
say,
whole thing
no, it isn't, Gary.
Absolutely it is.
No.
That's why, okay, let's say you've got 3-foot waves and you're going out, you look at the ocean, it's smooth out there now where by the time you see the horizon, it just looks like a smooth line. You don't see the 3-foot waves.
No,
right?
you don't see the 3-foot waves because due
Oh,
to
no, if there's 5-foot waves,
due to
if there's
perspective,
5-foot waves a mile behind those 3-foot waves, are you going to see those 5-foot waves as separate from those 3-foot waves?
Well, it depends on how far away they are. At the distance of
No,
the.
that's
Well,
my
hold on,
point.
Gary. Let me
Why would they
answer.
move
Let me
past
answer,
that
Gary.
point?
At that distance, you're not going to be able to see a wave, a
Right.
3-foot wave or a 5-foot wave, because your eyes cannot resolve something that small. So it's easier if you take a large
separate,
object, like say the sun. Now, as that appears to go down, in effect, it's getting further away from you because the Earth is rotating away. But okay, let's say the Earth is still and the sun is moving away, and yet it's not getting any smaller. It's not getting any smaller. It has the same angular size, so it still
Yes, that's
still
easy to
looks at the
explain.
same size. And yet, as it approaches that horizon, suddenly it loses the bottom of it. Well, why? When it was just above, you could see the full circle of the sun. Why is it when it appears to get a little bit lower, suddenly the bottom of it disappears? And of course, we've seen shots of almost a perfect half of the sun showing, half hidden. You'd have to explain how this angular compression can compress the bottom half of the sun, but not the top, when all of it is the same distance away from you.
It's my turn.
Yeah, please.
It's very easy to explain.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, it does shrink vertically, and even Wolfie and Bob the Science Guy have both admitted it. They even have a video talking about it.
What I will grant you is
And you can see it, and you can see it in the video.
Yeah,
and they'll call it refraction.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
But it's not refraction.
I'd say
refraction, it's
I'd grant you, Gary, that as you get the sun very low, unless you've got perfect viewing conditions, it will look distorted. It will look slightly flattened. And incidentally, I am being asked two other things. I had two more super chats. One from
I didn't even get to finish that. You asked me that question.
Well, I will let you, Gary. I will let you.
It'll never get back to it. You'll never get back to it.
Well, there were two. Let me read these two super chats from David Oliver, £5. Gary, if space is fake, why do we need a dome? So perhaps you can answer that in a minute. If I just note that. And from Earth is Life, Gary, Hawaii is 47 miles away from the North Pole. Polaris is 21 degrees above the horizon. Something is wrong with your model. Okay.
There's nothing wrong with my model. I was explaining that to you when
Yeah.
I was talking about the horizon and the waves.
Yeah,
So you have
carry
the
on.
3-foot waves, but they look like a smooth line, right? So I'll
Yeah.
finish that point. Okay, they look like a smooth line. Well, now let's say a little farther out in the ocean, a couple miles more, you have 5-foot waves. Can you tell the difference?
No, because I don't think you'd see it.
Because you won't have it right. So a couple miles further, you got 10-foot waves. Can you see them as separate?
I don't think you'd see it at that sort of distance.
So slicing, and so that those tall things, which would be like Polaris or a building, is slicing off bottom first, right? Because it's shrinking as it moves away. It cannot go into that limit because that limit is set by the surface. That part you can't go past because it's the foreshortened part already.
Okay,
now
Gary,
you're foreshortening the bottom
let's
of something
take-
as they move further away.
Let's take your
Which is how it applies to Polaris.
Gary. Let's take a very large object that is beyond the horizon, or as you have described it, has had the bottom of it sort of sliced away. Okay. Now, why is it then that if you sit under a drone and you get lifted up, or you've lifted a camera under a drone pointing at that object, you can suddenly see it again because you have not got closer, but now you can see the bottom of it. The typical example is a sunset. For instance, you can see the sunset at the bottom of the Burj Khalifa, whiz up in an elevator, and you can see the sunset again. The Burj Khalifa hasn't moved any closer, but suddenly you can see the whole of the sun again, or part of the sun again.
Yeah, because when you go up in elevation, your angle to the
Oh,
so that center frame in your field of view is going to move out further. It's going to have more depth to it, right?
right. You roboted a bit there, Gary, but I think I got your point. The fact is, you've opened up that angle again. Is that what you're saying? Oh dear, we're losing Gary.
If you go up in elevation,
Yes.
you're changing your angle to the surface.
Yes.
An 80-degree angle to the surface when I was on the ground. Now I go up. Where is that 80-degree angle going to hit now?
80.
Much further out, right?
If you're talking
Much
about
further out.
if you're talking about something that's on the horizon, several miles away, and if you're saying it's so small, it starts slicing off. Why do you think that going up a few hundred meters is going to enable you to see more of it again?
Okay, first of all, it's not getting cut off because it's too small. Because if you go up an elevation, you can see it, right? Right?
Well, hold on. If
The
for
ship
instance,
that-
unless the
let's say
sun,
there's a ship that's half cut off.
Gary.
Let's say there's a ship that's half cut off. I know, but you got to let me finish a point once in a while.
Well, I am. I think I'm
You
being
keep
quite.
cutting
I
me
think
off.
I'm being fair. But go on, Gary.
I mean, it's your show. It's your show. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to let me on.
No.
Okay,
I
I'm just-
want you on here, Gary, and I want to discuss with you, and I want to give you a fair chance to explain your points.
Okay, the ship being cut off isn't because the ship is too small. It's because the angle to the surface compared to the angle to the bottom of the ship too narrow. All those things are foreshortened, and you have limited information that can be put in the pixel space at center frame.
Right. Can I respond to
The way
that
you
then,
change
Gary?
that is by going up an elevation. Sure.
Right.
I still
Yeah.
didn't finish.
I mean, I agree with the ship. Okay, to the naked eye, you might not be able to see it, but you could zoom in on a camera. It's not too small. Hence, you can see the ship or part of it. But going up a few feet when you're talking about a ship that's a few miles away, the change in angle is minuscule. And why should it only cut off the bottom? Because you're talking about your fields of view or whatever. You're looking at the top of the ship. Do you see what I'm saying? You have your perspective, vanishing point is the point you're looking at. If I'm looking directly that way, everything's coming in there. If I look over there, everything's going in there. The vanishing point is at the direction you're looking. It's not a physical place. Yeah, go on.
No, it's not a physical place. It's an optical limit because of foreshortening. I call it angular compression. It's foreshortening. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but
It's
I just
compression.
recall.
The angles are compressed. It foreshortens what you see in that space.
I recall.
So therefore, you get limited.
Why
what
should
you
it
can see in that space?
Why should it just be that point at the horizon line? Whatever the horizon is, why should it be at that point?
Because it's a physical thing that you can't see through, right? You can't. So when you get something small, like the 3 foot waves and the 6 foot waves, a couple miles, you can't tell the difference. You don't have enough angle over them to see the ones behind.
Well, I
further
don't
away,
think
right?
you'd see them at all because it's just too far
No,
away.
you wouldn't. But it's not because they're not taller. It's because they're compressed to the point, and then you have the Rayleigh criterion. They blend with the horizon line that you see already. So you can't see them. It's squished.
Yes,
compressed. I
I
call
mean,
it angular compression and Rayleigh criterion.
You do start to get Rayleigh criterion coming in with things that are, because I mean a 3 foot wave is only 3 foot tall by definition, and it's several miles away, so that is minuscule. But using a larger object such as something like a tanker is obviously something that you're going to perhaps be able to see with your naked eye, or the sun you certainly can see with your naked eye. So why should half the sun disappear? It doesn't disappear before it reaches the horizon, it only disappears when it strikes the horizon.
It starts compressing vertically, which you even admitted. Vertically, right? Before it touches the horizon. As it nears the horizon, it already starts to do that, correct?
There is.
Only in Bob,
Hold on. You
both
just
admitted.
asked me if that was correct, I'm saying there is a distortion, which normally would look. It compresses the sun slightly, so it looks a little more an oblate spheroid or an oblate circle, an oval, because of the thickness of the atmosphere and refraction.
Well, the atmosphere does play a part in it, yes. But the main reason is because it's entering past the vanishing zone, right? So you got a limit at that on the surface is always going to be the limit for that because you're close to the surface.
Why?
So if you trace the sun, let's say you're following the sun with your arm, you point at it, going down, down, down. Where is that going? And which part of that sun then is going to touch that surface in your field of view first? It's going to be the bottom, right?
Yes. The bottom of the
That's
sun
why it gets
will
that-
start
it just
going
literally
behind the
gets cut off
horizon
when you-
before the top of the sun.
Yeah, you think it's cut off because of curve. It's simply cut off because there's nowhere to put that information.
What do you
have
mean?
a limited
Right,
space
you
in
said
your
that.
field
You
of
said
view
that
at
before.
center frame.
You said that before, and I was about to pick up, and I got distracted. You said nowhere to put that information, or not enough space for that information.
That's right.
It's not
Because
right,
the
Gary.
angles at center frame are very narrow. So you have a limited field of view.
Well, the
at that
sun,
point.
to all intents and purposes, yes, there's a little distortion, but it's not that much. And you can certainly see with the right weather conditions, you can see a semicircle sun, sort of virtually perfect top half and a virtually perfect bottom half missing. So you'd have to explain why suddenly, just because it's apparently in line with or close to the surface, that all the bottom half of the image, for want of a better word, disappears and none of the top half. Perspective shrinks in every direction. If you have a circle, if it moves away from you, the entire circle gets smaller and smaller. The entire circle gets smaller and smaller until it's too small to resolve. The sun doesn't change angular size at all, and then suddenly the bottom of it starts disappearing.
Vertically.
I'm sorry?
It changes vertically as it enters the vanishing point at the horizon, because you have a limited. There's two things in your field of view that determine how you see things. It's the vanishing point, because the angles become too narrow past that point, and how angles are subtended to your eyes. It places things in your field of view where they're supposed to be. That's why things moving away will go towards center frame, because you just draw a line, the angle to them. As it goes towards farther away, it goes towards that center.
Right. So, Gary,
I got like 2 minutes because I'm almost to my daughter, so I just got to get the one part about the sun that you.
okay, go on quick, and then I'll just reply.
Okay, the sun does not shrink noticeably because it's already only a half a degree. It's far away. Things that are close by, you can't compare it to like things that you see on the ground here that are close by to you. They shrink quickly. The sun is already down to a half a degree. It's far away. The angle size change is so minuscule, you're not even going to notice it. But you will notice it when it gets towards center frame, because that has a limit too.
Okay, well, what
I got my point across. Thank you. And I am at my daughter's. I have to go in.
Can I just respond quickly, Gary? Very quickly. I'd say
Sure. 1 minute.
I'm glad that you said that the sun is far away, hence it doesn't change in size much. Spot on. But what you're saying about as it hits the horizon, for want of a better term, its centre frame, vanishing point, and so therefore it disappears, that would be fine as an explanation, apart from the fact if I turn that way and look over there, my vanishing point is over that way now, but the sun still disappeared the same amount there. But listen, Gary,
Your vanishing point is always your forward-looking point of view.
And I'm forward-looking over there, but I can see out the corner of my eye the sun there. But Gary,
if I'm looking at the sun at the horizon, that's where my vanishing point's going to be. I'm not looking to the sides. I'm not looking in from eyes.
Yeah, but if I did then look to the side, my vanishing point has changed.
And you would have a different vanishing point, but you won't see the sun.
He does want to get the last word in, don't you, Gary? I'll let you have that last word. Listen,
I do, because I'm in a hurry.
Yeah. Gary, enjoy your time with your granddaughter.
I didn't say long, but I really got to go.
I say have a nice time with your family.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was interesting, but at least Gary has been polite, and I thought he was quite reasonable to talk to. Hello, Flo, 42?
That's a pretty wide definition of reasonable. But
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
I think his views are totally unreasonable, but it's not like trying to talk to someone like Nathan Oakley.
That is true.
that is true.
But it's like talking to a wall.
Yes, this is true as too. And there was another super chat from Pat G for $5 saying, if you're citing the Bible for the dome, how do you determine that A, it's correct, and B, every other religious text is wrong? What was your method? Good question. It's a shame Gary couldn't stop for longer, but he's got a goodbye and a night Gary from Colon. Yeah, I think he's all right. He's totally wrong, but I think he's okay to deal with, and it's quite special.
Yeah, I would like to point out, however, that he never actually answered Earth is Life's question about Polaris. So
no, that's right. And I was going to get to the point. I mean, he was saying about, if you've got something above you, an aircraft above you, and it's going away. Well, yeah, as it goes further and further away, that speed changes. Of course, it gets slower and slower and slower, that angle. But of course, with the sun, it doesn't. It stays at 15 degrees per hour. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Definitely. So 42.
Yes.
You were the last one in here. Do you want to? What's the time now? It's 10:30. I've not got much longer. But do you want to pick someone else to come in and join us?
Let me take a quick look at the list. There's a lot of people there.
There is. You're a popular boy.
I don't think that's for me. It's more popular for you. There are a few names who I don't know.
Oh, good.
Did we have a Zumi Arastra? What is the last part? Did we have that person?
Zumi was on here last stream.
Oh, okay. I missed that stream. Sorry. And the Stingray?
The Stingray. Oh, yes. Okay, let's get the Stingray on then.
But he's deafened though. Maybe he doesn't hear you.
Well, we'll find out. Oh, yes, that's true. Maybe. Well, let's give him a try since you've mentioned him. Otherwise, we'll try someone else. Hello, Stingray. Because he could be deaf because he's listening on the stream. So give him a minute, see if he comes in. Field radio operator says Bob Nadell is an idiot. But Bob Nadell's done such fine work proving the globe, Field. Definitely. Hello, Stingray.
Yeah, top agent.
Hello.
Hello, we got Stingray in here. Your ears are open. How are you?
I am very well. I just want to add something to the topic.
Yeah.
And it's something that I discovered because Gary's on about it with perspective and distance and using examples of the sun. You mentioned it earlier with, the sun going round. I did message you on Discord.
I did see I had a couple of messages, but I haven't had a chance to look at them, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I'm passing out a Blender file, so a 3D file for Blender, and all I've done in it is I've got a huge Earth, the size that we think it is. I've got a sun with the distance we think it is, and then we've got 23.5 degrees tilt, and I've got a lat-long widget that you can enter the latitude and longitude of. So you can place yourself anywhere on the sphere.
Yeah.
And you can turn a 360-degree dial to say which part of which month you're in. And it's got 5-degree dots in one of the camera views, both laterally and vertically, to show you the exact path of the sun at that point on that month in your day.
That sounds awesome.
This sounds like some black magic to me.
Well, I pass it out to content creators, so you are welcome to it, and I think I did link you the file anyway. But there's something else I've just included. I've actually updated it, and I've never heard it discussed before, so I just wanted to bring it up. And it's hard to visualize the Terminator line when you're looking at a distorted 2D map.
Yes.
However, when you look at the Terminator line on a globe in 3D, and then you look at the seasons, and I often spend time in the Balearics, and I phone my parents back in England. Now, you don't really understand that 23.5 degree tilt, the effect of it, till you go in different months. So you can see and verify that Portugal is in daylight, yet in the United Kingdom, it's dark. And it shouldn't be based on the fact, but it is based on the tilt and the month. So I used to phone my parents from Menorca, which is pretty much the same longitude as where they are, and it's pitch black.
Yes.
But it's completely light in Menorca. Or if I go if I go 6 months later, it's the opposite. And this isn't explained, and I've never heard an explanation by any flat earther to kind of rationalize this. They do the tropic movement of this circular magic floating sun, but they never explain how on the same longitude something can be dark and light, but the sphere in 3D explains it perfectly.
Yes. Well, I mean, they'd need a spotlight sun with a magic lampshade to try and explain the patterns of daylight across the Earth. But of course, at certain times of the year, they still couldn't, because the light would actually have to go round a dark spot, wouldn't it, to get to Antarctica all the way round. Doesn't work. Just doesn't work.
I would be very interested in that Blender file, by the way.
Yeah, and
just
I know nothing
Discord
about
and
Blender. It's not something I would be able to do anything with Stingray, I'm afraid. But there you go. 42 would like it.
No, that's not a problem. The only thing that I will say is there are commercial assets in there. I don't mind giving it away for educational purposes, but you can't pass it on because I've actually bought them and I don't have a license to. You don't. It's fine for content creators and me saying, "Hey, we're a team and we're trying to debunk stuff. Here we go. I've bought this for us." It's not fine a third party then passing it on. Just so you know.
Gotcha.
But like I said, I don't know anything about Blender, so I wouldn't be able to use it. I haven't got time to learn stuff like that, I'm afraid. Oh, well. Yeah, well, I sort of had forgotten the name Stingray. As soon as you spoke, recognise your voice again. So it's good to have you back, Stingray.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah. So, what else do you think about Gary? That's what. I mean, I've heard that sort of argument before, saying, "Well, that's the vanishing point." But the vanishing point, for want of a better term, is the centre of your vision. Wherever you're looking, everything seems to get smaller towards that point. So, if the sun is there where the camera is, if I look over here, I can still see that there's half a sun there. That the vanishing point is no longer there. Why would it not move? Isn't it convenient? It always happens to be where the object is that's disappearing over the horizon.
Well, there's two rules about the vanishing point in an artistic sense. I've actually got an 18-year background in commercial 3D graphics and visual effects for games and movies. So, but the point about the vanishing point is, it is you can set an artistic point to actually just help you with perspective for for vanishing of cityscapes and things like that. But all Gary was saying, every single sentence, you could just replace everything that he said with perspective, and that would be it.
Yeah.
Perspective. Yeah, and even some of the terms he says things that are partially correct, like he calls it foreshortening. Foreshortening is obviously, if people don't know, is just the making an angle more acute to accentuate the variance in that detail. It's the same way you'd look down a plank of wood, you to know whether it's true. You foreshorten it by flattening the actual detail to a shorter angle. Now, the problem with what Gary says when he's saying, "Oh, everything's foreshortening," is it's true. Most of what he says is true, but it actually doesn't answer or explain anything whatsoever. When he says the bottom of a building shrinks quicker than the top, all he's on about is, well, that's because the bottom of the building is closer to you, and that's how perspective works. It doesn't ever say that. The one thing I've never heard him explain is how parallel lines diverge, because that would have to be true for his explanation, and they just don't. That's not in our reality.
I'm not sure I grasp what you mean by that last bit, but parallel lines diverging under what circumstances?
So the example is quite simply this. Take any object, place one object 10 meters above the ground, and you're 1 meter above the ground.
Yes.
Now, for the bottom of that object to disappear and you still resolve the top, that means what you ask, and the object doesn't descend from ever being 10 meters high. That means that parallel lines have to diverge. In other words, they converge together and then start diverging the opposite way.
Yeah.
Because that object has to go down behind the parallel line, which is the floor. So in a Flerf perspective view, two parallel lines have to meet and then start crossing over. And that's not what happened. So even in his vanishing point argument, it's wrong.
Well, I think wrong is his middle name, isn't it? Yeah. Well, where are we? 11:15. I think, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Quite enjoyed it tonight. Like I said, it's I've got a rotten set of shifts, so producing content's going to be quite difficult for me this week. With my alternate channel, with my wife Sal, the first time watching, I've got another video that I haven't yet that we've watched. So I've got the whole reaction raw, but I haven't edited it yet. So I mean, that's hours and hours of work, so I might do a little bit of that because I can fit in a little bit of that left, right, and centre. But as for content, I don't know what I'm going to do when. We'll have to see. Hopefully, some Flat Earth will come out with something special that's a nice little nugget to debunk. But I'm reliant on them. As are you, Mr. 42.
Well, the reason I was late is because I was actually recording. Then I finished, and then I came in Discord. I actually was rendering in the beginning of me being here, and in the meantime I uploaded. I just need to check the video. I created a thumbnail in the meantime. Just check the video if it's all correct, and if so, then I release it. So I got you covered. I'll fill in the gap.
Just as a side, Thud says, Mr. S, let's see another level of dark forces. Good point, Thud. I haven't done that for a while. So if I get a couple of hours, I might do one of those. I forget which level I was on. Was it 5 or something? I got right close to the end and then failed. So I'll have to replay that level again. Of course, we'll learnt some of the secrets of it. So maybe I'll get to do that. But as to when, I don't really know. It's a bit tough. And I enjoy it, and I know that you and a number of others did. But I'll also be honest and say there were never that many watchers of it. But we'll see. It's something I was always going to fit in at various times, so I might well do that. Thank you, Bob Nadell's Gyroscope. And Flo Rider, it's good to see you again, sir.
Yeah, it was great fun.
Good. And I do still use that tow tank. I thought it was inspired.
Thank you.
You mention it almost every stream, yeah?
Yes, almost. I'll have to put on a special stream, the non-tow tank stream, when I don't mean... Oh, damn! All right, guys, it's been great. So what I'll do is I'll pop you back into the waiting room, and as I wrap the stream out, I'll pop back in there, because it looks like there's quite a few people in there, which is great. Quite a few people in there. I have no idea what they're talking about. So it should be interesting. So anyone who hasn't, if you don't want to come onto a live stream... you can always on the Discord, there is a room called the Arena when you can chat with anyone, and that's never pulled onto live stream. There's the live waiting room which anyone can access, but in that room you're always at risk of suddenly being dragged onto live stream. But the live stream's ending, so it's safe. So if you want to go in there and have a chat with 42, Flo Rider, and there's about 8 other people in there right now, shoot the breeze, talk Flat Earth, talk other stuff, then please just jump onto the Discord. The link should be in the description of the video. It's free, so you've got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose at all. Right, so thank you very much, Flo. I'll see you in a while. And thank you, Mr. 42.
Thanks for having me.
Very welcome. And thank you to everyone... Sorry, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you for the Super Chats. Members, you're always appreciated. Patrons, always appreciated. And just thank you for being here, making this community what it is. I appreciate it. Stay well, stay safe, stay sensible.
Mr. Sensible, Mr. Sensible, bring me some cheese, and get me only the best if you please. Here are some flowers, let me display them. Name it or one, or you have gone or slay them. Mr. Sensible, you are a man. Every subscriber is a faithful fan. Bring your logic and your cheese. Mr. Sensible, help us out, please. Mr. Sensible, I needed proof of gravity, so I jump off the roof. It's hard enough, let me go further. Why was I ever such a darn flat earther, Mr. Sensible? I'm such a clown. I am the laughing face of the town. Bring your logic and your cheese. Mr. Sensible, help me out, please. Mr. Sensible, bring me a sphere. oceans out here, have explanations that let me be candid.